Good morning, everyone. We are Ana Belén Chávez-Ruiz and Valeria Fernanda Cafferata-Peña, graduate students in Education and Learning Management at the Universidad Peruana, Ciencias Aplicadas in Lima, Peru. Today, we're pleased to present our thesis project titled Vocational Motivations in Male Students for the Teaching Profession, Breaking into Traditionally Female-Dominated Field. Our study explores the motivation and decision-making processes of male students who choose to pursue careers in early childhood and primary education, fields that continue to be marked by significant gender imbalance. To begin, we'd like to provide a brief overview of how early childhood and primary education are structured in a Peruvian educational system. According to the Ministry of Education 2016, education is organized into 7 cycles. The first 5 encompass early childhood and primary education. Cycle 1 includes children from birth to age 2. Cycle 2, ages 3 to 5, and cycles 3 to 5 correspond to grade 1 through 6 in primary education. Despite the significance of these stages in a child's development, the teaching profession at these levels remains overwhelmingly female. The National Institute of Statistics and Informatics of Peru 2020 reports that 98.4% of early education teachers are women, while only 1.6% are men. In primary education, the gender gap is also significant. 61.4% women versus 38.6% men. As Brown 2019 emphasized, teachers play a vital role in shaping students' cognitive, emotional, and social development, therefore promoting gender diversity, and education is key to fostering quality and inclusive learning environments. This brings us to our main concern. Why do so few men choose to become teachers, particularly in early and primary education? Block et al. 2018 suggests that teaching is still perceived as a feminine profession, often associated with caregiving and community roles and lower social prestige, factor that may discourage male participation. Societal gender roles also influence career choices. As Connell 2007 explains, gendered expectations shape the way professions are viewed, reinforcing the division between male and female occupations and limiting career diversity. Shade and Ainscote 2011 argue that true educational inclusion must address gender imbalances, encouraging all students to explore a wide range of careers, including those traditionally dominated by the opposite gender. Additionally, Garcia in 2021 highlights the role of family and social expectations in shaping career decisions, noting that boys are often steered away from nurturing professions such as teaching due to perceptions of low prestige and financial reward. Our main objective is to examine the motivations and influencing factors behind these vocational decisions, with particularly attention to overcoming the barriers imposed by gender stereotypes in the teaching profession.
I will now proceed to present the methodology employed in this research. This study adopted a qualitative, non-experimental design grounded in the idea that reality is socially constructed and perceived uniquely by each individual, as Bayetaiman points out. We work within a phenomenological approach, which, according to Fuster, focuses on describing and interpreting lived experiences, making it especially relevant in fields like education and psychology. This approach helped us deeply explore participants' attitudes, beliefs, and personal meanings, as highlighted by Ko and Owen. To gather data, we conducted semi-structured interviews via Zoom. Each interview lasted between 30 and 40 minutes, and despite being virtual, we were able to create a trusting environment that encouraged open and meaningful conversations. All interviews were transcribed with only minimal editing to preserve the authenticity of participant voices. The study involved 11 male students aged 20 to 25 who were either in their final academic cycles or had recently graduated from early childhood and primary education programs at both public and private universities in Lima. Most of them were enrolled in private institutions and were not doing internships at that time, which brought a diversity of perspectives. As for the instrument, we use a semi-structured interview guide, which, as Lopezos explains, strikes a balance, providing a structure through set questions while allowing participants the freedom to respond openly. This enabled us to gather in-depth, nuanced information. The interview guide was organized into three main teams, each aligned with a specific research objectives. First, vocational motivations. This section aimed to explore the reasons behind participants' choice of a career in education and the influence of their environment. Sample questions included what led you to choose education and what role did your environment play in that choice. Second, challenges and difficulties. Here we explore their experiences with gender-based stereotypes and prejudice, both during their studies and when entering the job market. Some guiding questions were: have you experienced any bias for being a man while studying education? And how has that shown up when applying for jobs? Finally, the third theme was satisfaction and professional future. This part invited participants to reflect on their decision, share advice to other men who might be considering this path, and share their career aspirations. The questions include where, if you could go back, will you change anything about your decision? What advice would you give to another man who wants to study education? And what are your plans for the future? This structure allowed for flexibility while still guiding the conversation, helping us collect rich and meaningful insights aligned with our research goals. Finally, regarding to data and analysis validation, the analysis was carried out under a constructivist approach following Sanchez-Suricalday et al. In 2022, which emphasized the central role of the researcher's experience, decisions, and interpretations in the analysis of qualitative data. This approach fostered a reflective stance, encouraging a profound engagement with the participants' narratives and the meanings they conveyed. For the validation of these instruments, we sought the collaboration of two experts psychologists who reviewed and provided feedback on the interview guide, ensuring its clarity, coherence, and relevance to the study's objectives. Furthermore, we adhere strictly to ethical standards throughout the research process, safeguarding the confidentiality and well-being of all participants. Through these methodological strategies, the research aimed to ensure both the rigor and the credibility of its findings.
The results are organized according to the structure of the interview categories: the influence of family and personal experience on career choices, the impact of gender stereotypes on professional practice, and reflections on career satisfaction and future aspirations. This structure allowed us to analyze the factors influencing male educators' decisions and experiences, highlighting both the challenges they face and the opportunities for promoting gender equity in education. In the first category, the process of choosing a career in education is deeply linked to vocational motivation and personal background. Most of the interviewees emphasize that family influence played a key role in their decision to become educators. For several participants, growing up in families with a strong educational tradition created a natural connection to teaching. Observing relatives who were teachers helped them see education as a vocation, giving them a strong sense of purpose and confidence in their career choice. However, not all followed the same path. Some shared that their decision came after exploring other career options. Throughout self-reflection and personal experiences, they eventually recognize that teaching best aligns with their values. Additionally, a few interviewees face initial family resistance when they first express interest in education. Despite this, they choose to pursue teaching, driven by a strong personal calling and a desire to make a meaningful impact. Moreover, prior experiences in educational settings help confirm their commitment to the profession. For instance, involvement in sports allowed some to integrate their passion with teaching, strengthening their decision to pursue education as a lifelong career. In the second category, many males educators describe facing significant challenges related to gender stereotypes, both during their training and in professional practice. One major issue was the restriction on physical contact with students, for example, avoiding hugs or comforting children due to concerns about misinterpretation. Participants also reported being advised to avoid being alone with students unless a third party was present to prevent potential allegations. While these measures aim to protect everyone, they also made it difficult to build the trust and emotional bonds that are essential in teaching. Several said they preferred working with older students to avoid these situations, but this also limited their professional growth and job satisfaction. In academic settings, being part of a minority in predominantly female education programs posed social challenges and reinforced stereotypes. Cultural biases, such as the association of teaching with maternal qualities, pressured male teachers to conform to rigid gender roles, making it harder to express their authentic professional identity. One participant even mentioned adopting a more distant attitude with students to avoid misinterpretations, highlighting the emotional burden male educators often carry. These experiences reveal the complex impact of gender stereotypes on professional relationships, job satisfaction, and identity, and underscore the need for societal change to create more inclusive and supported educational spaces. And the last category, despite these challenges, all interviews express satisfaction with their choices to pursue a career education. That said, some reflected that if given the chance, they might have made different choices. For example, selecting education as their first option, starting their studies earlier, or choosing a different specialization. When offering advice to other men considering this path, they stress the importance of being aware of societal stereotypes and staying committed to challenging them. They encourage future male educators to embrace the nurturing aspects of teaching with confidence and to focus on making a meaningful contribution to the field, regardless of gender expectations. One participant shared his aspiration to continue gaining classroom experience and eventually transition into educational management, aiming to improve the education system throughout more informed leadership.
Now, I will begin by addressing the first key findings of our research. One of our key findings was that family influence played a central role in the vocational motivation of the participants. Many shared that family values and traditions around education strongly encouraged them to choose this path, a point supported by Richardson and Lumsden, who highlight the impact of family experiences on becoming educators. We also found that several participants explored other careers before choosing education, showing signs of intrinsic motivation, that it's that inner drive to pursue something meaningful, as Garcia and Hernandez and Cordero suggest. This kind of motivation tends to lead to deeper and more lasting commitment. Another interesting aspect was the role of personal interest. For example, one participant chose physical education to combine his love for sports with teaching. As Sierra and Sierra note, education can be a way to align personal passions with professional goals. However, it's important to mention that male students in education often face gender-based tensions, especially in fields traditionally seen as female. This was noted by Palencia, who reminds us that stereotypes continue to be a challenge in the profession. Moving on the second set of findings, our research confirmed that gender stereotypes still limit men's participation in education, especially in early childhood. While Garcia highlights the value of physical closeness in teaching, many male educators feel anxious about being misinterpreted, something Fernandez, Castro, and Bouveta also discuss. Additionally, the feminization of education, often tied to maternal care, as noted by Ottaviano Persico, affects how male students see themselves and can restrict their professional growth, as González, León, and Rivas explain. Despite these barriers, most participants reported feeling deeply satisfied with their career choice. For many, working with children brings personal fulfillment, as Rojas and colleagues suggest. Galaz also emphasized the role of commitment in shaping a strong professional identity. Some participants even expressed interest in leadership roles, which reflects a nice point that professional growth and educational quality go hand in hand. So, while challenges remain, the intrinsic motivation and strong dedication shown by these male students point to a promising future for greater diversity in the teacher profession. To conclude, this study reveals a diverse range of vocational motivations among male students in education, shaped by personal and family experiences and a mix of intrinsic and extrinsic factors. The research also highlights a shared awareness of gender stereotypes encountered throughout their academic and professional lives. While some received encouragement from their social environment, others faced significant barriers due to persistent societal beliefs associating teaching, especially in early childhood and primary education, with traditionally feminine roles. These stereotypes directly impact both their training experiences and professional opportunities. Despite these challenges, most participants expressed strong satisfaction and commitment to their career choice, demonstrating a clear sense of vocation, resilience, and willingness to challenge societal expectations. They continue to seek ways to contribute to their students' educational development while redefining the role of men in teaching. This research expands our understanding of the structural and cultural barriers affecting male participation in education, providing a foundation for policies and programs that promote gender diversity in the profession. While progress is made in other fields, teaching remains highly feminized, reinforcing stereotypes and limiting male participation, especially in early education. The findings underscore the need of awareness campaigns, equitable teacher training, and the creation of inclusive space for dialogue to dismantle prejudice and foster a more balanced and inclusive teaching workforce. The study also opens new avenues for future research, including comparative studies across different education levels and regions to explore how contextual factors influence these experiences. To conclude this presentation, I would like to direct your attention to this final slide. Here you will find a QR code that provides access to the complete list of bibliographic references cited throughout this research. By scanning the code, you can view the full details of the studies and authors that have supported and enriched our analysis. I encourage you to review them for a deeper understanding of the theoretical foundations that inform our findings. Thank you very much for your attention. It has been a pleasure to share this research with you. Also, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact us via email. Thank you.